Right, in the game, time to disappoint each other. Pawn to e4. There we see the Sicilian defense on the board. Pawn to c5. So what can I play against this? Let me try the Grand Prix attack, which I presented in the video that has popped up in the card above. So the idea is to go pawn to f4 and then develop my light squad bishop. Yeah, pawn to d6. Here I can play bishop b5 and then trade off my light squad bishop because I don't need it in the Grand Prix attack. I don't have to develop pawn to d3 before, developing my light squad bishop out of the pawn chain. So pawn to d3 can wait. That's why in this position, I said bishop b5 is the way to go. Just trying to get rid of my light squad bishop and play a simple game. Now I can go knight to f3 because I don't see anything that can stop me from doing this. There we see pawn to a6. I think let me just get rid of my light squad bishop. Yeah, bishop takes. And now I can simply go pawn to d4 if I want, or just play pawn to d3. So which one can I go for? I think let me just play pawn to d3, keeping everything in the spirit of the Grand Prix attack. And now, yeah, pawn to b5, I can just cast a shot here. Because if pawn to b4 is played, I can play knight e2 and then knight g3. There we go. So pawn to b4 by black and then knight e2. Then I'll play knight g3. There we see pawn to g6 by black. Can I go knight g3 or just play something else? Let me go knight g3. Okay, the thing is, I still have pawn to g4 in the near future, right? Okay, the thing is, black has bishop g7 on the next move, attacking my b2 pawn. Yeah, so I need to keep this in mind. So knight g3 first. There we see bishop g7. And then I need to do something about my... Okay, let me just go pawn to f5. That's the beauty of playing the Grand Prix, you guys. The Grand Prix attack is such a very simple opening against the Sicilian defense. For those of you who don't like a lot of theory. Yeah, so now black is attacking my b2 pawn, so I need to do something. Rook b1. Yeah, one of the reasons I like playing the Grand Prix attack is the possibility to go pawn to a5. By the way, my plan is to go bishop h6 with that queen d2 move. Okay, rook e8. I can still go bishop h6. Yeah, everybody plays bishop h8 anyways. h4, I want to go h5, just messing up my opponent's pawn structure on the king side. d5, let me take, and then after pawn takes, I can go pawn to h5. Because what else do I know? Yeah, let me just mess up my opponent's pawn structure on this side of the board. So for those of you who don't have a stable repertoire against the Sicilian defense, try the Grand Prix attack. Another opening that I would recommend, which is very safe, is the Alpine variation. And the opening that I'm going to show you probably the day after tomorrow. So here we see bishop takes, pawn takes, and then there we see knight e5. But I don't need to exchange queens just yet because I feel my queen is more powerful than my opponent's queen. So if black takes on f3 with his knight, check, I'll just step back with my rook, and that's why I have pre-moved, as you can see. And then I have other moves like rook bf1, creating a triple battery along the f file. The target is the f7 square. Of course, things are not looking great for black at the moment. Come on, make a move. Okay, so I just pre-moved that, by the way. Black took on f3 and I took back on f3. Now there's queen d4 check, so I have to move. King h1. Yeah, so now black just played bishop f6. I think I should go queen g4. Trying to put as much pressure as I can on g6 together with my pawn. And there we see king h7. What next? Maybe I can just take pap, knowing I have rook h3 check and pawn takes on f7. Okay, f takes g6. Let me play rook g3, intending to mate somehow or to take on g6 check. I also have rook h3 in the near future. So it's not about mating my opponent very quickly, but also putting more pressure so that they can resign. Rook g8 is logical, but I have rook h3, and I don't know what black can do in this position in order to save the game, because I have bishop f8, discovery check if black is not careful, and that'll probably be met. So black has to be very careful here. And I have all sorts of discoveries. Besides, I have rook b d1. Yeah, just rook d1, threatening to capture black's queen. And I have all sorts of moves like bishop e3, discovery check, also winning the queen. Okay, there we see pawn to g5. I'm still not convinced. I can just do this. Yeah, there's a mating one here. Yeah, like queen h5 is just checkmate. I don't see anything that black can do here. Anyways, this was a great game. Am I happy? Oh, am I shocked? Nope. You know, I believe in the Grand Prix attack the same way I believe in the Alpine variation. I highly recommend that you guys give this a try. These are openings that you play in the tournaments or in real tournaments if you really want to maintain the position or to win some games, not risking it all with dubious gambits. Those things don't work in serious OTB tournaments. You're not going to beat any advanced player with such dubious gambits. Anyways, let me do a quick analysis showing you some other interesting ideas in the Grand Prix attack, just to give you much confidence that this opening is very much playable in almost all time controls. And before I show you some more and more interesting stuff, allow me to thank all of my patrons and all of you guys who purchased my new E5 defense course, which is now complete, obviously, which teaches you how to beat the Scotch, the Italian game, the Bishop's opening, the Vienna game, and other minor openings under E4. So once again, after pawn to E4 and C5, you may consider to play the Grand Prix attack, and the way we start this is by developing the Queen's Knight first, introducing the closed Sicilian, where most of black players play Knight C6. Now from here you can just go pawn to F4, since 90% of the times you will see black players fianchettoing their kingside like this, so you want to play pawn to F5 given a chance. For example, after pawn to G6, you first go bishop B5. If knight D4, which my opponent didn't play due to the fact that he started with D6 first, here you can just go knight F3. It's not much of a stretch. You're just challenging this knight here, so they are most likely going to take your bishop, and then you also take back. And then after bishop g7, you simply castle short. Most players here play either pawn to d5 or pawn to s6. If pawn to d5, for example, I just love playing pawn to e5, closing the position and then retreating my queen's knight. And if black plays pawn to s6, that's obvious. You can just retreat your queen's knight back to c3. But there's this tactical shot that I would love you guys to get familiar with. Some of your opponents may play something like pawn to c4. This is a very sneaky move, a very tricky move, and you need to be very careful. For example, if you just continue playing normal looking moves like pawn to d3, they are going to play queen b6 check. That's the only thing you need to worry about or to keep in mind in the Grand Prix attack, the possibility for black to go queen b6. That's why after pawn to c4, you have to look out for moves like pawn to a4 or simply retreat back your knight to c3. The other safest move that you will see is king h1. That's fine, and black is not going to win any piece here. If they play pawn to a6, you just retreat your knight back to c3, simple. And if they play pawn to b5, d4 is always a move in the Grand Prix, by the way, but I wouldn't mind going pawn to d3. Anyway, there's nothing much to do. Pawn to b4 may just enable me to go knight a4, which is the safest move in these kinds of structures, by the way, knowing you have rook b1 next and pawn to b3, or just relocating your knight to the king side. You also have knight d5, and then maybe you can play knight e3 in the near future. But anyways, most black players by this time will, take on d3, after which you take back. Remember, you still want to maintain your Grand Prix pawn structure. So anyways, after taking, they'll play something like pawn to d6 here, and here will be your main plan. Here you can do whatever you have to do to make sure that you take advantage of black. In the Grand Prix attack, we don't really care about the light squad bishop. If black plays knight d4, I find castle shot to be more flexible. I mean, even if they take your light squared bishop, you can just take back, and then if a6, you simply retreat your knight back to c3. So this is just how simple the Grand Prix is. If knight f6, well, you can play e5 if you want, but pawn to d3 seems to be solid. You just want to have this pawn structure, and say after black castles short, your middle game plan is very simple and it will always be the same. Queen e1, and then you relocate your queen to the king side and just put as much pressure as you can. Play pawn to f5, your key pawn break in a timely situation. For example, after queen e1 and pawn to d6, you can simply go queen h4. You just have to be careful to certain tactics like pawn to c4. In the Grand Prix attack, you want to put your king on h1 as soon as you can. So after this, you can just play king h1 or just go knight c3. If pawn takes, you just take back, and then say black plays pawn to b6. This might be the right time for you to push your f pawn to f5. Even if it means sacrificing this pawn just to open up the king side, that's fine, go for it. If they don't do anything about this, by the way, and say they play bishop b7, you can just go bishop h6 for example. Given a chance, you just want to take pap. How can you possibly mate black with this, kingside attack? Say after g takes f5, you go knight g5, say pawn takes, and now here is our main prayer to take on g7, and after king takes, we sacrifice our rook so that if pawn takes, we can easily mate black on h7 like this. Or if black takes with the king, we just go rook f1 check, and after king e5, yeah, even though we can go queen g3 check first, there is this silent move queen f2 intending to mate with a pawn. If something like pawn to f5 here, well, again you can just go pawn to d4 check, and after this you have queen takes f5 check, say king g7, and now you mate black like this at the same spot. So this was just to show you how the attack can go in the Grand Prix. Again, you just remember to relocate your queen to the king side, play f5, and then play bishop h6. Then try to find a way of opening the f file so that one day you may sacrifice your rook on f6 and then mate black on h7 with your queen. Right, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Let me know what you think about the Grand Prix attack in the comment section down below. Now, time for you to go and check out my new e5 defense course, which I have also linked in the comment section down below. And I'm glad to say, so far it has received a lot of attention and people are getting it like crazy. So it's an opening response that you try against white's e4 opening. You're going to learn how to play against the Scotch, the Ruy Lopez, the Bishop's opening, 3 Knights opening, the 4 Knights game, the Vienna game, even the Italian game. So it's the complete e5 defense course that I just launched with my team. You better go and check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.